special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Also, let me say good morning to those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20. Good morning to you also. Welcome. What about our listeners and viewers via our social media platforms, whether it's the Facebook page, YouTube channels? Good morning and welcome. It's to the point. I'm your host, GT. I'll be with you on for the next 55 minutes or so. I'll be with you here on the program. And I'm certainly hope that you will actually be with us for the next 55 minutes. Should have an interesting lineup on the program this morning. So, it's Wednesday. It's usually Government Wednesday. So we have various departments representing government institutions here on the program. And today we do have representing this morning Senator, that's Seville Francis, with us this morning. We also have, of course, that's Miss Carlene Perryman with us this morning. She's a youth coordinator in the Ministry of Youth, of course, here on the program this morning. And we should be having an interesting conversation, of course, with both of them on the program this morning. Once again, it's to the point. Certainly hope my guest is ready for me this morning and we could kick off that conversation here on the program this morning. So once again, let me say good morning to, of course, that's Senator Seville Francis and, of course, Ms. Perryman, the Youth Coordinator in the Ministry of Youth. Let's say good morning to both of them if they're with me this morning. Let me say good morning to both of you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you loud and clear. Of course, we need a little video from you. Somehow we would like to see your face. Good morning to you.
Hi.
How are you this morning?
I'm well, and how are you?
I'm doing okay this morning. Nice to have you on the program. And of course, folks, that's Ms. Carlene Perryman with us this morning. She's the Youth Coordinator of the Ministry of Youth. Let me say, of course, welcome also to, of course, Senator Seville Francis, if she's up with us this morning. If she's with us. I hope she's with us this morning. She was there a while ago. Not sure where she's gone to. Senator, good morning. All right. Of course, when she, rejoin us, we will get into the conversation this morning. Ms. Perryman, once again, good morning and welcome. Let's talk a wee bit about that youth rally that took place over the weekend. Share with us some information as it relates to it, some of the highlights, about that particular youth rally, if you can share it out with us this morning to get the ball rolling in the conversation this morning.
All right, so good morning to you again, and good morning to your listening audience. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. Sunday, we had a really exciting event on Sunday. We had over 400, I would want to think probably closer to 500 young persons in the room with us at Radisson, where we met to just kind of celebrate our young persons, our young people who are doing extraordinary things. We were able to highlight some of our sporting icons, those Paralympians. We had Appy Fletcher. We were able to reward our ambassadors such as Lyndon Victor, Anderson Peters, who have been doing extraordinary things in the sporting arena for us here in Grenada with their land and title deeds. We were also able to reward renowned coach Paul Phillip, Dr. Stevens John as well, who have been doing remarkable things in the field of sports medicine, especially where it pertains to boxing. She represented Grenada and herself in that field in boxing at the Olympics 2024. We had a number of young persons there celebrating. We were also able to honor our youth parliamentarians who are vying for the inaugural youth election on the 5th of December. We were able to recognize them as well. We were able to see talented young Grenadians sharing their talent in a number of different areas and just coming together and ending the whole Youth Talk series with the young persons who came out and they shared their thoughts and their ideas. The Minister for Youth, Honorable Delma Thomas, was able to take all of the points that we would have been hearing for the past couple of weeks from all 7 parishes in Grenada, and she was able to present her policy, the government's policy and the programmatic agenda for 2025. It is also important to note that in her address, the ideas that she came up with, the ideas that the ministry is going to be executing in the next year, those were ideas that came from the young people. So it's ideas that came from them, for them. So we're extremely excited about that. So all in all, Sunday was an extreme success. We had our youth entrepreneurs as well presented their offerings. They were able to advertise. They were able to expose their businesses, share what it is that they're doing in terms of products and services. We had a number of information booths with a number of stakeholders who are offering services to young persons that they may not have been aware of. They were able to listen, they were able to sign up in some cases, they were able to get additional information that they can use to sustain themselves, not just in the near future, but right now.
All right, great. Well, we do have the Senator joining us this morning, that's Senator Seville Francis. Senator, good morning to you once again and welcome to The Point.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having us this morning.
All right, you're certainly welcome. I just been speaking a while ago to Ms. Perryman, and she's been giving us some highlights of the youth rally that took place on a Sunday. Let's hear your views on the youth rally and what was the key highlights that, of course, for you being part of that on Sunday.
Well, to be honest, I think I am still high on the energy of the young people from the youth rally. From since Sunday, I've actually been smiling every time I think about or remember the youth rally because the young people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique has once again given me hope to continue to serve in this position. It shows that our future is really, really bright. The exhibitors, seeing the talent that we have here in Grenada, it is just remarkable. It's a bit unfortunate that we weren't able to house more of our exhibitors to showcase the talent of our young people. But I must say, one of the key takeaways for me is our guest speaker, Ms. Taisha Emmanuel, who is from Anguilla. Her presentation was powerful, engaging, impactful. And I've seen some of the reviews that young people from Grenada who would have connected with her at the event would have sent to her. She has shared them with me. There's one in particular that said, "Hey, you are younger than I am, and when I see the amount of things that you're able to do with your life and accomplish, especially knowing that she came from very humble beginnings," the person said to her, "You have given me hope. You have given me a reason to pull my socks up and get busy with my life and start doing things." And there are a number of reviews that went to her and that other young people who have met me and spoken about. And that, I think, when you look at that, I would say that we have achieved our goals. We have achieved our objectives, and that is definitely commendable. Another highlight for me was the young people in their numbers from Carriacou and Petit Martinique. I cannot get over the joy, the zeal, and just the way how they connected, and they were happy to be on mainland and to be a part of that event. They were proud, they were loud, and they really enjoyed themselves. And again, especially knowing what they're dealing with in Carriacou and Petit Martinique after the passage of burial, that in itself is commendable, that they were willing and they showed up in their numbers. So it says a lot about the tenacity and the fighting spirit that we have in Grenada here.
Now, youth development is certainly a pivotal part of this administration in terms of youth development across the board from all sectors. We see young people are being, of course, engaged and wanting to see them move forward. How do you feel as a senator, also as a youth coordinator, of course, Ms. Perryman? I hope I get a response from you. How do you see, youth development, of course, continue to prosper in being part of this particular administration? Tell me a wee bit about that.
So from my perspective, I'll take the lead if Ms. Perryman would allow me to. I'm going to use the Youth Talk series that we've recently concluded also, right? And I'm going to highlight Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Now, Carriacou, the young people of Carriacou, they put together their vision for Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and they shared that with us. Now, we're speaking about youth development, and a lot of the times we look at it from a top-down approach. Now, here we had a bottom-up approach being handed to us. And when you look at that, you cannot deny that our young people are actively involved in developing our country. So I want us to change our mindset, because that has also changed my mindset when we think about youth development. Youth being involved in their development engagement is integral, and that is definitely what we need, and that is what is happening. And it's also one of the reasons why we engage with our young people here as a government to ensure that we know what they want, we know what they need, because we cannot sit in our offices, we cannot sit from the comfort of where we are and the positions we're in to know what our young people want. Right. And that was also one of the reasons for the Youth Talk series, because we were able to gather that data to see how best we can develop the society that our young people need.
Ms. Perryman, your take on the same question?
All right. I want to agree with everything that Senator Francis said. I also think one thing I appreciate was the fact that we spent a lot of time assessing the programs, the projects, etc., that the ministry undertook for the past 2 years, for the past 3 years, 4 years plus, etc. In these assessments, we engaged a number of stakeholders. We engaged not only service providers, but also our young people to find out exactly what it is that they want. And a number of our initiatives are centered around the young people in that way. If you look at the programs like the Youth Parliament program, how that program has evolved into the youth election, where these young persons are now able to have a tangible voice in the House of Parliament within the next couple months, where they can speak on issues, not just issues that, general issues or issues that have been debated time and time again, over again, but actual issues that are being tabled in the actual House of Parliament. They would have a voice to contribute to that. They would be the representative for their age group, their peers within their communities. They also have access to grant funds where they can actually do work within their community. So we are excited about a number of these initiatives that we have added to existing programs because we have listened to the voice of the young persons. Now, Senator would have mentioned Youth Talk. And this entire project or this entire event was an activity, was such an amazing opportunity for young persons to air their views. And when I engage with my peers regionally and internationally as well, they marvel at the fact that our young people were able to have these opportunities, because they were saying that oftentimes in their neck of the woods, when young people are engaged in this way, it's tokenistic, or they're given questions to ask in response. And the leaders themselves, they don't necessarily allow for open conversation. So this particular program, where the young persons were able to, just be free and ask the questions, ask the candid, raw questions, I thought that was extremely amazing. Not only that, I love the fact that when the young persons, they would have mentioned that they had concerns or there were gaps that needed to be filled, they offer solution to mitigate against it. And I think that is extremely important, that not one of the youth talks that we went to, did we encounter any young persons who completely lamented without offering tangible solutions that the government can take, or that the Division of Youth can take and turn into something that can fill that gap that they are experiencing. I also, the fact too that our programmatic agenda for 2025, it's as a result of the conversations that we would have had over the past 2 years that culminated in the Youth Talk as well. And all the conversations that we've been having, we took that and we're deciding on that programmatic agenda. And additionally to that, we're seeing that a number of our sister ministries, other ministries, etc., they have a number of opportunities for our young persons. So then we're seeing that the youth is not a sector in and of itself, but it's inculcated throughout the government. It's inculcated throughout the various programs that the other ministries have. So I honestly do think that our young people are they are in a good position. They are definitely in a good position to experience a lot and to gain opportunities. I also want to say, though, that the opportunities are present, but it's important that our young people look and they seek these opportunities and they partake in them. One of the things that we're doing at the Division of Youth, all our programs and projects, they're open. Our registrations are open. We go into the communities, we open the registration. So that anybody can come and partake in these programs, and we offer the opportunity to all stakeholders when it comes to age between the 16 to 35. In some cases, we have to go 18 to 35 when it comes to employment opportunities and skill training.
All right, great. Now, let me ask this. You spoke a lot about youth engagement, and you've been around the island engaging youth. What are some of those key conversations you've been having, especially with young people? And you spoke a lot about they're saying how they feel and how they would like to offer solutions for problems that they are having. What are some of those conversations that have been having? And if we say those conversations were had, how are these conversations have been implemented in terms of what young people would like to see themselves develop into?
So some of the main questions, as you would just imagine, would be employment or employment opportunities. How can I get a job? And I think one of the key takeaway for me surrounding that was the young people left with a different mindset about employment. Ever so often, we would tell them, hey, instead of wanting a job, how about creating jobs? There are different avenues. So, for example, if you are a creative, Grenada Office of Creative Affairs, there are multiple opportunities, grants, courses, all of those things are available that you could now tap into to start your own business. If you are interested in entrepreneurship in any regard, we have relationship with different stakeholders like GIDC and GDB, where we have the soft loans and the grants and all of those things available. So now our young people left understanding that, hey, there is an opportunity for me to not just be employed, but become an employer. And then in turn, I can, just as how I am now looking for a job, other young people can come to me and I can, because I understand the position that they were in looking for a job, I can provide that level of support for them. You asked how are some of the things that they mentioned, how it's going to be implemented. So as you know, our budget reading has been delayed, and so some of the things that the suggestions that came in, and we're also creating our plans for 2025 for the ministry in particular. Now, we can look back at, because we had persons taking notes on our behalf, we took notes for ourselves. And so now we're in the review process where we look at some of the things that he mentioned, some of the suggestions, and we can now take that, turn it into policy or implement it into policies that we're about to create. And also in preparation for budget 2025, those things can be included. We can look at how we can incorporate some of the suggestions that they have, turn it into programs, turn it into policy, and so we know that for 2025, that will be taken into account for budgeting, because you cannot do something if you do not have the budget for it. Yeah. So that's some of the ways that it is going to be implemented or taken into account.
All right. I want to go back a wee bit to Sunday's rally, just a wee bit. I mean, what was the criteria for used for selecting the awardees, especially that took place on Sunday and in the Sunday night ceremony? And was there a selection, should I say, a selection committee, a panel who are the members and so forth that select for the awardees especially? Tell us a wee bit as relation to that.
All right. So I want to clarify.
Okay, let's get that.
I want to clarify. All right. Now, we've been getting that question a lot. For one, it was not our National Youth Awards. There's this misconception. At the event, the National Youth Awards was unveiled. Right? Which means that it's going to be in 2025. We cannot have a National Youth Awards if we do not engage and have young people, or anybody for that matter, presenting or nominating persons. So the people who were awarded, they were promised a lot of things in the past, all the way back to as far back as 2018. So for example, our Olympians, they were promised certain things. It was just a matter of us fulfilling those promises that were made to our young people, particularly in sports. Also, we have the implementation of our national sports policy that is now in effect, that speaks to what our athletes are to be compensated in the event of them, winning or representing at this level and those kinds of things. So it was just a matter of honoring some of the public commitments that were made in the past, which is different to our national youth rally. So there was not necessarily a selection criteria or a committee in place, right? This came from whatever was promised before. It's there in the cabinet conclusion because, they were promised certain things. It was just a matter of this government fulfilling the mandate of fulfilling the promises made to our young people. Yeah, so I just wanted to clear the air on that. Our National Youth Awards, it is coming in 2025. It was unveiled. The public will have the opportunity to nominate, and then we're going to put all the criteria and all of everything, and then you will have the opportunity to nominate, you will have the opportunity to vote, and that is how you can be a part of the process. So I just wanted to clear the air on that.
Okay, understandably so. We drew for a break, Senator, and of course, as Perryman, we drew for a break. Let's take it when we come back. We have much more to discuss. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break.
Tourism is me, tourism is you, tourism is everybody, and tourism connects us all.
Did you know that tourism generates revenue and foreign exchange earnings?
Did you know it stimulates infrastructural development and facilitates cultural exchange among people?
You must know tourism is linked to all industries,
from agriculture to construction.
So support the industry today and be welcoming to all our visitors.
Tourism is my business. Tourism is your business. Tourism is our business. Listen, one and all. Tourism connects us all.
A message from the Ministry of Tourism
and the Grenada Tourism Authority.
Grenada, get ready to celebrate the magic of the season with Christmas with GBN. Starting November 4th, join us weekdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN Television, K105 and Hot 98. Monday kicks off with traditional stories and wellness, featuring a storytelling session with Labukan Creative Center, giveaways, nutrition tips, and live calls to share your holiday wishes. On Tuesday, brings Craft Day with live and pre-recorded workshops guided by local artisans. Join us for more giveaways and connect through live calls. Wednesday features an outdoor production showcase, giving local sponsors a chance to shine from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. On Thursday, it highlights a local cuisine showcase at True Blueberry Resort. And on Friday, it wraps up the week with live entertainment in our studio, showcasing local artists and more opportunities for live calls. Don't miss out on the joy and togetherness this holiday season. Celebrate with us on Christmas with GBN.
Coming up, it's the season for love as this movement makes a difference for yet another year. The food we're serving, cocktails flowing, and the rhythms ongoing. Welcome everyone to a truly joyous edition of Caribbean Passport. It's all next on this station.
Welcome back once again, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point for today, Wednesday, the 4th day of December 2024. Let me say welcome back to our guests once again. We have with us this morning, that's Senator Seville Francis, of course, the Parliamentary Secretary, and we also have Miss Carlene Perryman with us, the Youth Coordinator. Let me say good morning and welcome back to both of you. Thanks for being with us this morning on the program. I want to continue our conversation this morning. I've been hearing a lot about the Elevate Her program. I want you to explain that for us a wee bit, what this whole program will be all about. So some folks must say for that impartial bystander, some may see it as, or maybe it sounds like maybe another Imali program. It's just for women, as the name goes with it. While, empowering program engages men, What you have to say in terms of this particular perception that it may bring, where you said elevate her? Let's speak a wee bit as relates to that.
All right. So the elevator program is one of those program that came about after the series of consultation with young people. Before the youth talk and even during the youth talk, it was reiterated that our young people were asking for more training opportunities and more job opportunities. One of the things that came from having job opportunities was that of the lack of experience that most employment places or employment institutions are asking for. So we recently launched the Empower program, and now we're going into the Elevator program. How is it different than the Imani program? One, it's 1 year. Two, this particular program, what it does is that it aligns the participants of the program to actual opportunities in the job market. So the areas are extremely specific because we're looking at some of the gaps in the job market, the labor market, and where the needs are for this particular program as we pilot it. So our participants who register, they have the opportunity to register for tourism and hospitality, building maintenance, construction, etc., healthcare in terms of healthcare attendants, becoming an orderly. And one of the other areas that a number of our young people during the youth talk highlighted that they were interested in agriculture. I think each parish that we went to, the topic of agriculture came about. And so this particular program will offer our participants opportunity to partake in poultry production as well, and agricultural production. What happens at the end of this program, our young people, of course, they go into the apprenticeship period. However, those who go into the apprenticeship program, they will now have an opportunity to be employed in the place that they are being trained. That is part of our engagement with the institutions that are going to be partaking in that apprenticeship aspect. Now, others will now be streamlined into, they will have into entrepreneurship. So they will have access to grants that will actually set them up to now run their business or to start their business, especially those who partake in the agricultural aspect. So those in the poultry production, they will now be provided grants so that they can now start their own small poultry farm, and they can now create opportunities not just for themselves but for other young persons by being a part of their farm, by being a part of their business and their entrepreneurship endeavor. And they can now get the opportunity and the training so that they can scale up until who knows where they can reach in terms of their farms, in terms of whatever area it is that they choose if they go down the grant path.
Okay, understandably so. I just was trying to just weigh the comparison with the, of course, this particular program and other programs that seem to have, engaged both, male and female, as you just said, elevate her. That was my main reason for asking the question.
So one of the things we found in the Empower, and that was the genesis of the Empower as well, that the young men, they felt they had more ownership and they felt they had more freedom to express themselves when they were by themselves versus competing or versus being in programs with females. So that's why what we noticed in the Imani program, there is a complete disparity gender disparity between the male and the female. The females definitely outweigh the males in terms of persons within that particular program. So the Empower program was rooted from that. Now we have the Empower program that is being ran. At this point in time, the Imani program is not doing intake as we continue to transition our young people within the program into full-time employment. So we felt that it was important that we come up or we implement a program that gives young women the opportunity, because they too need opportunity in training, despite the fact that the Imani program is not taking anybody in right now, as I said, as we try to create employment opportunities for the young persons within the program.
All right. If I may ask a question, as you mentioned, the Imani program is not taken. What's the present status of the Imani program? Of course, there's still anybody under that particular program?
Yes. We have thousands of young persons under the program. At least over 1,000 persons under the program. The program is going on. Right now, where we are is just trying to transition persons who have been in the program 10 plus years, 8 plus years, etc., we're trying to transition them into permanent employment. So whether it's in the public sector, whether it's in the private sector, to get them to have the opportunity to get the benefits of being employed fully, because we have to remember that this is a training program. So a lot of the opportunities that persons who are employed have access to, they don't have it. So we felt that it's important that we transition the program rather than we continue increasing the size of the program before we can find opportunities for persons who have been in the program for a long period of time.
Okay, because it leads me another question in terms of the future of the Imadi program. What is the future for that program per se? Will it be maintained to a point? We know that the participants, I should say, received an increase. What next? Just remember of former minister, Honorable Ron Reddit in 2022. He actually said that we'll be rebranding the program. What's the status in relation to that? Tell us a wee bit as it concerns to that.
All right. So as I mentioned, the thrust for us right now is transitioning persons who have been in the program for the longer than the 2 years that the program is supposed to run for. As to what is next, we have to wait on the directive of the policymakers.
All right. Now, let's talk a wee bit about the Youth Biz program. The St. Mark's Youth Biz Center has been closed. The St. David Center, which was due to open in 22, was never open. What is the present status of the people under that program, and what's the role or the future plans, I should say? Does the administration see youth entrepreneurship as an important component of youth development? I shouldn't say it like that, because I know youth development is important for the administration, but I just wanted to get a little follow up on that, especially with the Youth Biz program and so forth.
Well, I do believe in the minister's speech on Sunday. She would have mentioned youth entrepreneurship and our youth entrepreneurship program being relaunched, rebranded for 2025. So I will ask everybody to stay tuned to some of the offerings that will come out from that program, because it's an important aspect of our mandate here in the Division of Youth.
All right. Anything on that from you, Senator? Anything you want to in response to that? Or response you want to throw to that to us?
No, it's interesting that you mentioned the Youth Biz program and you asked if we're not concerned about youth entrepreneurship. You'll be happy to know that the T-shirts that we were wearing on Sunday, it was done by someone that emerged from the Youth Biz program in the past. So yes, the government is concerned about youth entrepreneurship, and we continue to support the young people who would have passed through that. And because we're able to see the impact and the success of young people who pass through that is something that we're definitely that we're doing. We're in the process of reviewing the Youth Biz program that we had in the past. We're not getting rid of it. In fact, we are in the process of reviewing to ensure that it is of quality, the standard that our young people deserve, they are given, and to see how best we can support them as we continue to encourage entrepreneurship for our young people.
Okay, great. Let's talk numbers a wee bit. How many youth are being engaged through the present youth initiatives right now? If there's a number you can share.
We have been engaging thousands of young persons over the past year. For example, for the Youth Talk, we engage over 1,000 young persons holistically, not to mention those that we have been able to engage virtually, because all of our Youth Talk have been carried live. So added to that, we probably have tens of thousands of persons, not only here in Grenada, but regionally and internationally as well in the diaspora. Our Youth Parliament program, we started with our parish debates. We engaged over 120-something persons in the parish debates. Now we have 27 persons vying for the youth election on Friday the 5th. Added to that, we have to talk about the fact that these youth parliamentarians, they have been engaging young persons on their own as well. So they would have encountered hundreds of persons while they campaign, while they speak to them about their vision for young persons. We had our youth leadership program workshop that ran for 2 weekends. Each workshop had over 50 young persons attending each day. We had our job fair that engaged over 300 persons. We had our job preparedness workshops where we had hundreds of persons participating in that. We had our AI workshop where approximately 60 something persons attended the summits during the day. Then we had another 30 something in the evening when it went on to persons who were entrepreneurs, persons who were working. So, all in all, we've been engaging thousands of young persons throughout Grenada. And one of the things that we've been trying to do as much as possible is not just to engage persons physically, but we understand the importance of the virtual space. So, we ran all our, as we said, the youth talk, our youth debates, all of that were done in a virtual space as well so that we can maximize on the engagement.
All right. No, there's...
Not to mention the Empower Again. I think that's a big one where we launched with over 460 something young men, and then we had another 20 something in His Majesty's prison.
All right.
So when we add it up, there is a lot of engagement happening. And again, I want to stick a pin that the Division of Youth is not the only one who is running youth programs. We have MIT who is running program. We have Boca who is engaging a number of young persons. We have the Procurement Office who have opportunities for young persons. We have the Ministry of Education with the scholarships, etc. So the engagement, when we look at it holistically, there are opportunities for almost every Grenadian who takes the opportunity to be engaged.
All right. You know, I certainly do understand when you talk about, the engagement with youth, but there's always that conversation that we're hearing lately within the communities, the breakdown of youth groups and community groups and so forth. Now, what is the division doing to engage existing youth groups, and in terms of helping to form new groups? If there's that conversation could be said a bit.
Perfect. That's a great question. So as I mentioned, we had our community leadership executive workshops that ran for 2 weekends, one in St. Andrew and one in St. George, where we try to zone it so that everybody can have an opportunity to attend. And there we engage, as I said, on any given day, we had about 50 young persons that would have attended each day. Now, these young persons were engaged in activity in sessions such as financial management, communication, leadership, project management, etc. A number of things that they engage. And I must say that this project or this activity went from 8 in the morning to, and some of them had to be prepared by 6 to get the buses on Sunday, to about 4. That's the time that we carded. And the sessions didn't end until about 5 in some cases. And these young people stayed and they came back out on the Sunday as well. And because they found value. The purpose of this particular activity or this particular project was to help build the capacity of existing youth group or youth leaders within the various communities who are interested in forming youth groups so that they can now go back into their communities and they can do the work that they need to develop youth community groups that can stand the test of time. Now, added to that, each constituency will have the opportunity to apply for a grant of at least about $5,000 in the first instance, where they can do community work. One of the things that we heard about in our consultations was that, they want to do work in their communities, but when it comes to sponsorship, because everything costs money, they don't have access to it. So that is one of the things that we took away from our engagement, and we're launching our community engagement grant fund, where these groups can now access this fund so that they can do work within their communities. Now, our youth ambassadors, who will be launching early next year, they too will have access to another $5,000 per constituency. And our youth parliamentarians, once the election is finished, they now will have access to another $5,000. So each constituency will have access to $15,000 that they can use to engage the community in projects and activities, etc., over the next year in 2025. Now, one of the promises that we've had from management, including the minister, was that once this program is successful, because we understand the whole rising cost of living and we understand inflation, etc., there might be opportunities to increase the grant funds based on the type of projects that we see coming in. but we wanted to pilot it with about $5,000 and give our community youth groups an opportunity to develop projects, to develop activities that they can use to create community youth groups at the grassroots level.
All right. Senator, I see you being, of course, actively nodding and happy to hear what you've been hearing. Let's hear your take on that in terms of some of the initiative, in terms of, revamping some of those youth group and even the option of forming new ones. Let's hear your take on that.
Oh, to be honest, I think Ms. Perryman summed it up very nicely. I was nodding and smiling because even the Empower program, as they transition from the life skills aspect and heading into the internship and entrepreneurship aspect, they have voiced their concerns about the amount of money that they were receiving. And I just wanted to highlight that we listened. And so that has been increased. All right. I know we're speaking about youth groups here, but when Ms. Perryman mentioned that currently a youth group can get up to $5,000 in the first instance, and she said that with the chance or the possibility of that increasing, I smiled simply because, yes, what we do, we listen to our young people, but as you would appreciate with everything, you must have a start. From that you can evaluate and see, hey, how can we improve on that? So Ms. Perryman is absolutely correct that there is a possibility of that grant amount being increased based on the feedback that we receive as relates to the success of these initiatives. It is, though, we have to take into account that we are in an evolving society. Gone were the days when I grew up. I'm actually the founder of a youth organization, belong to multiple youth organizations, and I understand the value of that. But the truth of the matter is, during my time in my younger years, because I'm still a youth, during my younger years, those were the things that were available. Creating those bonds and those networks. So yes, we had the emergence of, the social media, but it was not as prevalent as it is now. So we have to find a way to remind people that the human face-to-face interaction and connection is still important, because we're connecting now over, just take, for example, on WhatsApp, you have community groups on WhatsApp, whereas back then a community group meant you're going to the community in your community center, having face-to-face meeting, paying your dues, paying your subs, raising funds, doing all of those different things. We do not have a lot of that happening now. We have the community groups and the group chats and all of this happening virtually. So we have to find that balance, and we have to find ways to see how we can merge both. How can the physical community groups can utilize the virtual community groups to help develop communities? And I think that is what is most important.
All right. Another.
So that we just
Go right ahead.
add to that as well. We do have our field officers, like our parish youth coordinators and our community officers as well, who are engaging young persons on a daily basis. In the month of November, we had our volunteer weekends, where hundreds of young persons were engaged for that weekend, putting on projects within their community. We had activities such as beach cleanups, beach beautification projects, where they went into the schools, where they beautified areas in the schools, erecting of signs, cleaning up after the flooding. And young persons came out in their numbers and they engaged in this project over the weekends. So we are engaged, but we do see the deficiency and because of the way that things are happening, and I think we can put some blame on COVID here, where young persons, they're a little bit reluctant in congregating in a physical space, but we are providing them the opportunity to do so from the Division of Youth. And the Empower program, again, they have a community aspect where they have been doing work within their communities as well as part of the mandate of that program. And the Elevator program will have something similar as well.
All right. We spoke a whole lot, and I've been hearing a lot of Grenada. Tell us any specific initiative for Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We haven't spoken much in relation to that in terms of the initiative specifically for Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
All right. So everything that is being implemented for Grenada Carriacou and Petit Martinique has a component of it. So for the youth parliament and the youth ambassadors and the programs that came into fruition right after burial, we've held back because we wanted to respect and to stand in solidarity for what is happening in Carriacou right now as people try to rebuild their lives. You do not want to bombard them. And so we've given Carriacou the opportunity to say to us when they are ready to start back with these different things. So I remember when we were planning to go up to Carriacou for the youth talk, we were concerned, wondering, is it something they're going to gravitate to because of everything that they're dealing with? But Carriacou turned out in their numbers. The place was filled. In fact, it was overfilled. And so they're saying to us that, hey, gradually we're still here and we want to be involved. And so we have listened to them. I don't want to let the cat out the bag just yet, but from just last Wednesday, Thursday, we went up to Carriacou to have the youth talk with them. And so we have engaged them and understand that, hey, they are in need of certain things. And so we plan to go back up to Carriacou in December to do something really, really amazing with them as they end the year. And also as a way of, giving them a different feel and, for everything that they're dealing with, just to free their minds, give them to take them out of the mental space that they're in, something that they can enjoy, something that they can appreciate as they prepare for 2025. So Carriacou and Petit Martinique, they're not left out of any of the programs. We just have to appreciate that right now it's a technicality for them as they rebuild their lives after the passage of burial. And once they are ready, everything is in place. It's just a matter of execution.
All right, great. We, of course, Senator, and of course, Youth Coordinator, we due for a break. Let's take it. When we come back, we will invite our listeners and viewers, if they do have a question or two they may like to ask in terms of our conversation this morning, so they have that option of doing so. Then we wrap up at the top of the hour. Let's take a break, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it dial.
Looking to show.
I tell people nurses are not just nurses in the region. We really do owe them sincere appreciation, love, gratitude.
Meeting people in a vulnerable state, it's definitely a calling. And that's why I chose this profession.
We appreciate these people for really bringing us through challenging times. We appreciate you. We love you.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Hello, everybody. My name is Renee Goodwin, and I am the marketing manager here at True Blue Bay Resort, and I am so excited to invite you all to join us every Thursday on GBN, starting from November 7th, as we count down to the holiday season, right here at True Blue Bay Resort, Grenada's best family-friendly resort for visitors and locals.
welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Welcome back to my guest this morning. We have with us Senator Seville Francis with us this morning. We also have, of course, Ms. Carlene Perryman with us, youth coordinator with us this morning. And this segment I did, of course, mentioned before the break that we'll invite our listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two you may like to ask my guest this morning, feel free to do so in this segment. Let's take our first caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning, and you're live.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning to you. Not bad at all.
Right, and good morning to your guests. You know, I am feeling so happy to hear these young people articulate. You know, when I hear young people are so clear, it makes me feel very, very comfortable. You know, but in the effort of trying to put the young people, get them occupied, what is running through my mind here is that the cost of living and the state of the economy, is the economy producing the wealth to allow the young people the opportunity to set up their own business? Because once you set up your own business, you need clientele, yeah? And is the clientele out there having the necessary resources to support the young people? That's my concern, where the economy is not growing as fast enough to create that wealth to allow the young people to stand on their own. And if the economy is not expanding where you have mass employment to put the young people to work, it might be difficult for them to do their own thing and to succeed. That is my concern, where the growth of the economy is not providing the wealth, sufficient finances to allow the young people to stand on their own. Because it's all well and good putting the young people to work, putting all of them to work to start their own business, and they have no clientele, no support to realize the dream. That's my concern, but it's a good effort.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Any response to the caller, or could we go to another caller? Anyone want to respond to the caller?
I just want to say that it's a very valid concern that the caller has. I just quickly want to comment on part of what he said in terms of clientele. In any business venture that you're setting out to do, you have to first do your market research. And that's why with the grant opportunities that we have for young people to do entrepreneurial or take on entrepreneurship, we work along with GIDC and GDB, because they would not just award them the money or the opportunities, but they will ensure that their business plan is viable. It's a good business plan. There's a market out there for it. And we are realizing that there's a lot of innovative ideas coming out from our young people. And we're seeing different opportunities that we never thought about as an area that people can become employed or to thrive. So I just wanted to make mention of that.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, and good morning to the two brilliant young lady. I could sit the whole day listening to them. They are very eloquent. Okay, one of the things, I want to focus on duty is agriculture. Agriculture in school, because I know growing up, we used to do like agriculture science, and from agriculture science, we used to go down to the land, and then we will plant cabbage, carrots, and everything. And then I want to know what plans do they have for the schools and them, the different schools, because I know it's to start like at a primary level, and then I know like we did some of the secondary school like McDonald College used to have this agriculture stuff going on too. And also we know like during the revolution they had like the school in Marybo. So I want to know what plans they have for the youth towards like agriculture, and especially again like the livestock, because I think Anglican school in Sotez, they're doing the livestock program. And also I want to congratulate them on a great success Sunday. I was looking at it, you guys did very well, and continue with that progress under Sister Delma Thomas.
All right,
thank
caller.
you, have a great day.
You too, caller, have a good one. And respond to the caller.
All right, so I want our people to appreciate, one, that the Ministry of Youth and Sports, or the Division of Youth, is not the only sector or ministry where youth initiatives are taking place. So you would appreciate that he mentioned the Maribel Farm School. I know that the Ministry of Education, together with TAMCC, they are revamping curriculum to ensure that agriculture takes its rightful place in our society once again, right? We had, from the Ministry of Agriculture, we had about 9 young people, either 8 or 9 young people that recently went to Guyana to develop their skills in agriculture. So every ministry or every sector, you would find youth initiatives. And that's one of the things that we are ensuring that in terms of policy for any other ministry, that whatever programs and projects and policies that they're implementing, it takes into account our young people. How is it beneficial to our young people? So the climate smart agriculture enterprise, that would be SIEP, I know that they have been engaging the schools as it relates to agriculture. We're all part of the government. So I don't want us to just look at it as the Ministry of Youth and Sports or the Ministry of Youth, Division of Youth. What are they doing for agriculture? What is the government doing for young people as it relates to agriculture? There's an agriculture department, there's an education department that incorporates all of those things together with the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Okay, thank you.
Senator, I would also like to add the Ministry of Agriculture and their Youth in Agricultural program, where they're engaging hundreds of young persons in training. There is a pathway for persons who are getting into agriculture so that they can get the necessary training, and after which they'll have access to really soft loans, I think at 1% or even less, and grants. But there are those persons who are actually involved in agriculture, so they can head to the pathway straight to the loans and the grants. They're also training officers within the ministry as well, so that they can go out in the communities and they can deliver on practices, agricultural practices. I believe that there is some discussions around creating a youth cooperatives for farmers as well, I believe, within the division of cooperatives. And also in our elevator program and our empower program, we do have young persons who are doing agricultural trainings for the part of their training component. They have entered into that pathway where they're going to be doing specific training in agriculture. And of course, at the end of it, they would have access in grants to help support them as they move on.
Yes.
All right. Senator, of course, Francis once again, and coordinator, that's Ms. Perryman. I want to thank you both for being on the program this morning. We come to that time of the moment when we have to take a wrap. Anything in closing before we say goodbye for today?
Yes, I want to encourage everybody to tune in on the 5th of December for our national youth election results. Voting begins from 8 and it ends at 6 p.m., 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 5th of December. All registered voters will have will have the ability to vote for their candidates within their constituency by logging on to youthelection.gov.gd, that website. Want to remind persons who have registered to check your email, check your spam, check your junk for the access code so that you can have that opportunity to vote. I want to say big congratulations to all our candidates who are vying for the election. They are taking this extremely seriously. They are putting in a lot of work, a lot of efforts, and we want to say heartfelt congratulations to them for ensuring that this part of the program is a success. And thus far, we're extremely proud of them, and we cannot wait to see the result, to see who formed the cohort for the next 2 years and who will be our youth representatives in the Youth Parliament from 2025 up until 2027. Also want to encourage persons who are in St. John right now to head and interested in the elevator program to head to the Pastoral Center. Registration is beginning. It has started at 9 this morning. It ends at 3. So I want to encourage you to head out there. Even if you may not think that you're interested, go out and ask a question. You may leave being very interested. It pays to be a part of the registration, even though you may not want to be a part of the program eventually. Tomorrow, that's today, the 5th, we have St. Mark, that is the Resource Center. On the 9th, St. Patrick's Anglican, and on the 10th, the YWCA building for the registration for the elevator. We ask that you stay tuned to our pages, our Instagram page, MOYGND. We post everything there, so we ask that you follow us. Our Facebook page, Ministry of Youth and Sports, you follow us there as well. Everything that we're talking about, it's also mentioned on these pages. And if you have a question, call us on 440-6917, and we'll be happy to tell you about what we're offering, or if not, we guide you in the direction that you need to be heading towards.
All right. Senator Francis.
So much for having us.
Senator Francis, anything in closing before we take a wrap?
I just want to say thank you so much again, and congratulations to all of our remarkable young people. I know that we're living in a society where it can be challenging. You feel the pressures of life is on you. I want you to reach out for help. We have a social care unit if you feel overwhelmed. We have people that you can talk to. I want to say thank you to all of our stakeholders for everything that you've done to ensure that our youth rally and recognition ceremony was a huge success, to the awesome team at the Division of Youth, spearheaded by Miss Perryman as a coordinator. Thank you so much. And also for all the young people who came out to the Youth Talk series that we've had, thank you so much. I know it was really a challenge sometimes coming out so late in the night, and we were there sometime all past 11 minutes to 12 in the night, and our young people, although the program has would have ended, they stayed back and they're engaging with us and talking with us, and sometimes we're past midnight, we're there engaging our young people. Thank you so much for taking that interest and active part in building and shaping our Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Thank you guys so much. Stay tuned to everything that is happening at the Division of Youth. Take advantage of all of the opportunities and just continue to be amazing, and let us lead the Caribbean as young people. Thank you so much for having us this morning.
And thank you once again. I want to thank you both for being on the program, and we hope another engagement comes around pretty soon where you will diverge much more information. Thank you, and have a great day, both of you.
Thank you.
And have a good day.
All right. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Don't forget, Christmas with GBN is next. That's what we say goodbye for To The Point edition for today.